Let's talk about the Florida Gators. There's a big weekend happening in Gainesville. Let's look at some of these names on campus, and we'll start with five-star wide receiver Dallas Wilson. The electric wide receiver from Tampa has been committed to Oregon for 14 months now. But this weekend, he'll be in Gainesville. Do you think the Gators have the best shot at flipping Dallas Wilson, if anybody can flip him from Oregon?
Yeah, so right before the show, I was told that Dallas Wilson, Florida is going to push that visit into the fall. I still view the Gators as a program that's very much in the thick of it. He's expected back at Oregon next weekend for his official visit. Dan Lanning and that staff, they're going to do everything they can to keep Dallas Wilson in the fold. He's one of their top targets, obviously, regardless of position, but he's keeping the in-state programs warm. And if Florida has the season that they want to have, what they're preparing for, what they went into the portal for, the culture that they've tried to change over the last 2 years, they're going to be a threat for a lot of these guys.
All right. Up next, we got elite in-state wide receiver Vernell Brown from Jones High School in the Orlando area. And Vernell Brown's a legacy prospect in Gainesville. And do you think heading into this, do you think that the Gators lead for Vernell Brown?
I may give them the inch. Again, talking to some sources this morning about it, there's so much love with that family for Florida, with his dad and his grandfather having attended school there and played there. In the spring, we liked Ohio State. He had a really good official visit to Ohio State as well this summer. But Florida, he's coming off a Miami visit. Florida State's in there. I think that Florida is the program that he's always loved and envisioned himself at. And so I like the Gators for this young man coming into the weekend.
Moving on to DB Hilton Stubbs out of Jacksonville. And when he committed to USC, it was a shocker. But nobody was more shocked probably than the Florida Gators. But this weekend, Stubbs is back in town for an official visit. Not saying that he's on flip watch for this weekend, but do you think Stubbs is somebody the Gators can turn?
I think that it's a long road for USC to get Stubbs from now to getting his letter of intent. Now, he had a fantastic visit 2 weekends ago to USC when the Trojans hosted some of the other top safeties in the country, Trey McNutt and Jonah Williams. And he is super excited about Deonta Lynn and the trajectory of USC's program. Games are going to be played this fall. If USC goes out and has a fantastic season, guys like Julian Lewis, Hilton Stubbs, be tough to flip. But Florida was a school at one point we thought led. He's keeping Miami warm. There's some others in play. So this is just another opportunity for him to get back around Coach Will Harris, Coach Billy Napier, and that Florida staff.
All right. Linebacker Tavian Wilson. He's the last prospect I want to hit on this weekend, but there are more. So go check out GatorsOnline.com. They got a full rundown of this weekend, and they'll be doing a great job throughout the weekend updating it. All right. Linebacker Tavian Wallace. This really feels like it's coming to the end of his recruitment. Last week, he was at Georgia. This week, he'll be at UF. Next weekend, FSU. How do you read this recruitment as we are like in the middle of these 3 visits, and then we know he's going to make his decision in July?
Well, I'm going to lump in On3's number 1 linebacker, Ty Jackson, with Tavian Wallace. They were both in Georgia last weekend. Georgia's one of the front runners. But for Tavian Wallace, my RPM's on Florida State, but he did grow up a Gators fan. So we'll see what kind of feelings he gets coming out of this visit. Does he think Florida's on the right track? Is he willing to invest in the Gators preseason and bet on them in the fall to have the kind of year they want to have? I think Florida's going to give him a good visit. And Ty Jackson, I look at Alabama, Georgia, and Florida as 3 of the front runners. And he is not going to decide until maybe the last day, December 4th, early signing period. So official visit to Florida this weekend, get them back to the swamp for a game or 2 this fall, have a great year. And maybe we're talking about the Florida Gators at the end of the race for Ty Jackson.
All right, Gator fans, let us know. Who do you feel best about this weekend? Comment section below.